to also use the recipe. That kind of business model is what we call a franchise. Now, the originator of that brand name, this one is called a franchisor. Whereas the one now who is buying the rights to use somebody's brand name or the franchisor's brand name is called a franchisee, right? So for example, the example that this gentleman gave of KFC, that KFC that we know, okay, like if we go down here at City Mall, probably I think there's KFC there. That one is only by probably some other individuals. The different from the originators of that name, the brand name. Maybe they are based in the US or elsewhere there. These are different people, and this one is controlled by these people here. But by the fact that they are using somebody's brand name, they have to pay something to that one. So they pay royalties. So they pay royalties to the owner of that brand, so that they are allowed to use whatever they are using in the business model and so on and so forth. So anyway, that's a type of business opportunity that one can tap from, can take advantage of. So you are staying somewhere, maybe at Insundwe. Now you realize that, what if I put up a restaurant here, and that one should be a KFC. You get in touch with these people and say, I want to open my own KFC here at Insundwe. You do all the processes, they allow you to proceed. But at the end of the day, you pay some royalties to them for using their name and everything there. So it's an opportunity that you have grabbed after seeing a gap in the market. Now, there are some other types of business opportunities. For example, the offering of consultancy services or coaching services. Somebody can sit and think of coming up with this idea. Let me start offering these consulting services or maybe coaching services and so on and so forth. That's another type of business opportunity one can grab. But now, you have identified the gap that is there in the market, and you feel like it's high time you fill that gap. Then you have tried to find out and to come up with the type of opportunity that you need to grab. Then you've resolved that I think I should just come up with a startup. That's what I should do. And now, with this startup, I'm ready to go. But before you hit the road, there is always a need for you to scan the environment. This scanning of the environment is to see the feasibility of what you want to do. Now, this scanning of the environment is only there to see whether that business or the idea you have is going to be viable or is not going to be viable. So, before you take a step in starting up whatever you have decided to do, it is always important to do the feasibility study or to scan the environment. Now, when you are scanning the environment, there are various tools that are used, that you need to use in order for you to see whether the idea you have is going to be feasible or is not going to be feasible. Mm-hmm. Occurrences, spelling independent, but whatever is happening in the market space, a chance to take advantage of the occurrences in the market to start a business. That is what we are referring to as business opportunity. Now, these business opportunities come from these sources. For example, identification of the gap. Sorry? Oh, this was natural. It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. That one. All right. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So here, actually, we were talking about the sources of these opportunities. Where are those opportunities coming from? So you have identified a gap in the market. Then you say, okay, I think here's an opportunity. Let me grab that one. Let me fill that gap, right? Recognizing the new trend. There's a new trend. Let me take advantage of this new trend and start up a business. Or I want to expand into the new market. Let me take opportunity of this. And here, resolving some social or environmental problem. There's a social problem around or an environmental problem. Then what if I do ABCD and start business with this problem that is here? So that is also a source of an opportunity in a business space. You want to resolve a social or an environmental problem that is there in the market. So, for example, an environmental problem, we have issues to do with pollution, for example. Then somebody says, what if I start a recycling business? You are trying to resolve a problem there, then that's an opportunity that you have gotten. Sorry? All right, so you're setting up an orphanage as a business. Okay, how are you going to do that? Of course, you are resolving is a social problem actually, but okay. So should we consider that as a business, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think?
No, but people nowadays do it as a business. It's the same thing like a church.
Okay, but now when you are going somewhere to register that organization, how do you register that one? Do you register it as a business entity that will be paying tax? You register it as a non-governmental, whatever, whatever, right? But nevertheless, it's part of those organizations one can set up to solve some social problem. So then we are going down here. These things I'm writing here, they are not notes per se. Of course, I'll share with you, but I'm only trying to demonstrate that at least we understand how we are flowing, right? So then we were saying the types, uh, types of business opportunities. And then here, that's where Timaona Zodian, startups, uh, what else? Uh-huh. Distribution. Um, what else? Timagamba za consulting services. and so on and so forth. The types of business opportunities that we can see. Now then, after we have seen these ones now, it's like one, you have taken a chance of the gap that you've identified here, or else you want to solve this environmental problem. Then now you come down and see now which type of opportunity should I pick up here in order for me to take advantage of the situation that is here. Then you say, let me just have my own startup, for example, or else let me go into franchise. Whichever type you choose here now, the next step for you here is to now to scan the environment for the opportunities. So now the next here you have scanning of the what? The environment. So this is where we are. This is where we were. So I went back to write this one so that at least we should not get ourselves confused. We should be following how we are flowing. So I was saying the scanning of the environment is an act of seeing or ascertaining the feasibility of the business that you want to set up. Now, when you are scanning this environment, there are tools that you use. These tools are the factors that will determine the success or failure of the business or the failure of businesses. When doing the scanning that we are talking about, or what you want to do is to see if this business is going to be viable or not. So there are specific tools that are used. These tools are nothing but the factors that will determine the success or failure of the business. Now, we have some notable tools that are used in most of the times when we want to scan the environment. These tools, examples are what we call, I've cited one example, pastel analysis and CWOT analysis. So tafika point yona zoti ineyo ndifuna ndikhale ndi startup. I want to come up with my own startup, and this startup I want to solve some environmental problem. Here is the gap that I have identified in the market. Okay, so I want to solve this problem. But now, before I take a step, I need to I need to study the environment, whether this startup I want to come up with is going to be viable. Then we are being told we need to deploy these tools, is either this one or this one. Of course, there are a lot more tools, but the notable ones that we need to study must be those two. Now, these tools, Pasteur and the other one, these acronyms actually. And I know, of course, I know we have tackled these tools at some point. I think your assignment, you tackled this one, right? That's very beautiful. So it's going to be easy for us to discuss that one in the context of that one can always use when he's trying to scan an environment. Political, right? Okay, so since we are saying these are the factors that would determine the success and the failure of our businesses, then E here. Economic. S T. This is beautiful. And this, the other, environment factors, and again finally legal considerations. Okay, now by studying these ones, one now can make up his or her mind that I'm going to proceed with the idea that I have or not. For example, when we are looking at political factors, basically, political factors are always very key when it comes to the success of businesses, either startups, whether they are franchises or else joint ventures, any type of business you can think of. Political factors are always very, very critical. They can determine the failure or the success of your undertakings. In what ways? Let us interrogate these political factors. We are saying they can determine the success or the failure of businesses, either existing ones or startups. How? In what ways? Yeah.
Maybe government policies.
Okay.
Changing government policies enticing.
Okay. Wonderful. So those responsible for putting up rules, regulations, laws, legislations, and so on and so forth have a greater stake when it comes to the success or the failures of businesses. Why? Because the policies they can put up can determine whether you are going to continue with your business or not. For example, as he is citing examples of, for example, taxes, interest rates, how the economy is balancing. Okay, anyway, we'll get there. Yeah, so the policies can also determine whether the business is going to do good or not. What else when it comes to politics or political factors? How do these political factors determine how your business works or the success or the failure of business? In what other way? Political stability. Where there is an instability, the chances are high that things cannot work out. Where there are chaos, even startups. We remember some years back, I think 2 years back, no, not 2, I think some 4 years back, we had a brief situation where there were some other things were not doing good politically and so on and so forth. Quite a number of people lost their businesses in and around Lilongwe here due to whatever disturbances were happening. So political stability or instability can determine whether a business is going to do well or not. What else? Issues of foreign trade policy, of course, is to do with policy. Now, on policies, we have domestic policies and we have foreign trade policies can also have a bearing on how businesses work. How about labor laws can still affect how businesses work? How about environmental laws and restrictions? So when it comes to political factors, there are a number of them that are there that will determine whether your business is going to do good or not. So since the issue is you are here, you are trying to venture now into business, you want to take steps in now realizing the dream that you have. You have to think critically about these factors, and should you see that they are the business is going to be viable on the basis of the factors as you've seen them, you're good to go. If you have questions and not so sure, then you think otherwise. Then you said the other factors are economic. Now, economic factors are also very, very critical. Yes, the stability can be there, political stability that is, and probably there is a political will through the rhetoric of politicians or those that are in positions of power. No, we want you people to do ABCD, we want you people to invest in this, to go into small scale, whatever, whatever. But the economic environment is not healthy, is not good. The economy is not performing well. We are having issues, for example, forex shortages, high interest rates, or else inflation, and so on and so forth. These things will make the people in the market to lose what we call the buying power. Now, you cannot invest in an environment where people do not have the buying power. Who is going to be buying your products or your services? Nobody. So, the economic performance of a particular economy will determine whether your business is set up or whatever is going to do well or is not going to do well. This is the reason why at some point we might have seen some businesses closing down, citing poor economic performance of the economy in question. Asili upanga profit uno tikubwerera kwathu kapena aiti kutseka business mwina tiyambe kupanga zinthu zina. So economic factors are always very important. So for somebody who is trying to grab an opportunity and set up something, at least has to also take a closer look at these factors in the economy. Thirdly, you've mentioned social factors. What are these social factors, by the way? Economic factors are obvious. Political factors are obvious. How about the social factors? What are these factors, or what are the examples of these factors? Oh yes, sure. You say something on that one, but I agree already before you even say something. Can you say something on that one? Traditional beliefs. How? Mr. Mpando.
Want to use an example I want to
Okay.
for example, someone else
Ah.
teacher.
Uh-huh.
I say again, basic figure, it's all right.
Okay. Well, a very good example. So we have social issues, cultural issues. Cultural issues, religious issues are part of what we call social factors. So these ones have also to be taken into consideration when you are taking a step, because I mean, you are into some business, as he's putting it, and now then you want to expand your operations elsewhere. You want to expand to some other places where that product is seen with a different view. Then that business cannot work. He has given an example of piggery. You want to be raising pigs. Now, you can't take that business to some other places where those animals are not seen with a good eye. So, those are examples of social factors you need to consider. Apart from that one, we also have, as part of social factors, we have demographic issues like population, distribution of populations. You may think that we have this high population in this city or in this location. Let me introduce my business there. But now, is the population there going to buy the products that you want to be selling? Mwina achuluka kumene koko ndi ana achichepere. Business mufuna mukayambiseyo ndiyogulitsa nsapato zakuluakulu, definitely sikatheka. Mukuyena kugulitsa nsapato munazogwiza ndi ana ake, and so on and so forth. So the demographic characteristics, the norms, the customs, and the values of the population within which the organization is operating or wishes to start operating will also have a bearing in the success or failure of the business. Educational levels. Educational levels or literacy levels. Literacy levels. These ones can also be seen as examples of social factors, because the exposure of people academically or literacy wise can also determine their preferences in doing things, their taste when it comes to fashions and all those other things. So they are part of social factors. How about technological factors? Yes, these are also very, very important. Access to certain technologies can also have an impact whether your startup is going to pick up or is not going to pick up. But here now, it becomes interesting because one may think that if I'm introducing this product or this service to people who are technologically exposed already, then I'm going to make sales there. I'm going to grab that market. One may be convinced to say this. But somebody will come in and say, but those people are not exposed to this type of technology. Then how are you going to tap that market and take advantage of that market? So it becomes a bit tricky in this case. So all what we are saying here is the exposure to certain technologies in a market can help you to penetrate that market easily, or can make it difficult for you to penetrate a particular market if that market is not exposed to the technologies in question. So there can be a situation where a particular population that you are targeting, you are seeing potential in there, but since there is no awareness, people are not exposed, it becomes difficult for you to penetrate. So when you are venturing into anything, you think about the technological factors as well. I have this example in mind. There was a time, some years back, some people tried to introduce this service. We call it Uber. You know, this service in many other countries is there, and I think even in Zambia here, if I'm not wrong, it is also there. Now, they tried to introduce it in Malawi here, but it never picked up. I don't know if you followed this. I think some 3 or 4 years back, if I'm not wrong. Some of the factors that led to the failure of such a business is lack of technological exposure. Because now, for you to access such services, you need internet connectivity, you need smartphones, and all those other things. Now, as we speak right now, how many of our people have access to such technologies? Not many. At least you people who are here, you are a bit better off, you are able to access smartphones, internet, and so on and so forth. Even here, even when you're saying here yake ndotanthauza ku Lilongwe kunoko, how many people have access to these things? Ndi anthu ochepa. And this one amene mwina muli access ku zinthu ngati izi, you already muli ndi magalimoto ndikale. Ambiri even amene alibe magalimoto alibe iso zangatiso zimenezi. Now, matolo amene tinazolowera kukwera ndi zomwe timakwera makwathu mu mtandiremu basi kamadusa ka ujene aka kuimisa tikukwera. Now kuti ambe kugwisa ntchito zinthu ngati china Uber is a tall order. So the thing is, due to the lack of exposure, our lack of exposure to such technologies, we failed to harness or take advantage of it. And those who tried to venture into that business failed. So technological innovations and exposure have also a bearing in the success or failure of any business, and of course, environmental factors also. Now, the issues of the issues to do with the environment are being regarded as a new norm or a new trend due to our recent awareness and consciousness about climate change and predictable climatic conditions. Now people are becoming more and more conscious of environmental conservation and or environmental protection. Now, because of that, policymakers are putting up restrictions and measures that businesses need to observe in as far as the protection and preservation of the environment is concerned. Now, those restrictions and measures have their own demands. For example, there are some fees that are attached to the same. If you want to start producing this one or distributing this one, for the sake of the environment, you have to pay this fee, or for the sake of protecting the environment, you have to observe this and that. Now, that one becomes so challenging. So, for a startup or for a business person who is going into a particular space to start up a business, also has to scan the environment and has to scan as in how these lobby groups, the government, some other organizations are handling environmental issues, especially in this industry that I want to venture into. Because if you do not take a careful study in this, you may end up entering into that space, but you're not succeeding. Why? Because there are a lot of restrictions, there are a lot of fees, penalties, and so on and so forth that are aimed at protecting the environment. And the result, you find that your business is failing. So, it is good to do the scanning here along the environmental factors. Then we have legal considerations. It is also good to consider these factors carefully. For example, when you are venturing into a new market, in a different country for that matter, there are high chances that the rules and the laws governing the industry you want to venture into can be different from those in your country of origin. So it is also good to study the laws there governing such industries in question if you are to be successful. Now, I mentioned another two, and the other two was SWOT analysis also. Now, you have scanned the environment, and upon scanning the environment, using the factors that at least we have tried to see, the legal factors, the environmental, social, and so on and so forth, then at least you are convinced that I think if I enter into this market, if I start this business, or any other business that I'm thinking of in this economy, I'm going to do well. Or anyway, it's going to be viable or it is feasible. Fine and good. But there's also another tool, probably, if you are not using this one, you can also use the other tool. So this CWOT is all about strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, these are the strength of the probably the business that you want to go into, the weaknesses of the business that you want to go into, and the opportunities that are there and the market will provide you, and of course the threats that are associated with the same. So by also studying these elements, you'll be able to make up your mind whether you are proceeding and you are not proceeding. But what we were discussing here are just the factors that will guide you through to make up your mind. But now we are assuming that you have made up your mind now. After doing this scanning, what next do you do? I think now the next thing is for you to take a step in starting the business venture. The next step after doing the scanning is to take a step in starting the business venture. Now, when you are taking the steps that I'm mentioning here, going into a business venture, it is not something which just comes like a blast, just once as it is. It takes some steps whenever you want to set up something. So probably we can use this time to see some of the steps now that you can take to set up that particular business you want to do. Is either it is a startup, or you want to join somebody in a joint venture, or you want to set up a franchise, whichever the case. First of all, you scan the environment. Now, after doing this, now you are taking steps. What are the steps? First, you conduct a market research. That's the first step for you to start a business venture. Now, market research now will tell you whether there is a true opportunity to turn your idea into a successful business or not. A market research now will tell you whether there is a true opportunity to turn your idea into a successful business. For example, when it comes to energy, that powers our homes, the energy that we use in cooking and so on and so forth. Most of us do not have access to electricity. We are not using electricity. Probably we are not using gas. Now, we find that most of the households may use things like charcoal, firewood, and so on and so forth when they are cooking or they are warming their homes. This is normally what happens. Now, you might have identified the gap in the market that I think energy is a problem in this city of ours. I think if I venture into energy service provision, I'm going to kill it. That was the first step. Imene munachiganizira chimenecho. Then munapita ku matools aja. Matools aja mwachita study including environmental issues, mwakutira unaka kuti ine nditayambisa business yoti ndizi pereka energy kwa anthu manyumbamo zikhoza kugwira. Okay, fine. But now, what kind of energy am I going to be supplying these people here? Then you've decided that I should be distributing makala, for example. This is what you've decided to do. But now you want to take a step. What do? Then we are saying you do market research. Now, by doing market research, you are going to see if it is indeed, if indeed there is a gap that with your makala, it is going to work. Because you find that there is a population here that you feel like if I take my makala into this population, then I'm going to kill it. You find that there you are not going to kill it. So doing a market research will tell you exactly what you need to supply those people. You find that antomuna safuna makala mafuna nkuni. So this is the first step for you to do after doing the scanning using the tools that we have seen. Now, this research can be done in many ways. There are formal ways of doing this research, and then there are informal ways of doing this market research. For example, when you are saying formal ways of doing market research, is either you can do it yourself, it's either using interviews, interviewing people, or else you involve consultancy firms. There are consultancy firms that are there to do market research. You engage them, you tell them what you want, they go out there and they conduct a research for you, and they recommend and say, and following their recommendations is either you can take a step forward or you can take a step backward, or you can sit back and reflect first. So this market research is a way of gathering information about potential customers and of course businesses already operating in your area and the industry. Yes, you might have resolved to start selling makala, but you don't know how many people are also selling makala in the same location. So by doing this market research, you'll be able to tell that how many are also selling the same product in the market that you are targeting. So this is an important one, and without this one, your chances of success are likely going to be taken into questioning. Then the second step also is that of analyzing your industry and of course the location. That's the second step. Analyzing your industry and of course the location. There are some industries that are sustainable, others are not sustainable. So at times there can be this business opportunity that you feel like is an opportunity, but if you look closely, you find that it is not sustainable. It is short-lived. Everybody is rushing into that business, but after some time, you find that it has lost its steam. So it has lost its thought. So as you are looking for opportunities to either come up with a startup or a franchise, joint venture, or whatever you call it, but now also ask yourself about the sustainability of what you want to go into. This is what we call the analysis of the industry. And of course, the analysis of the location as well. If you look at some locations, In a place like Lilongwe, for example, we have area many nga area 47 here. Then tindima areas many kuliri ku area 46. Area 46, that is after Gateway, the other side. Area 9, the other one is area 46. What is happening there? It is an area where people are building up. People are coming up with structures, houses, and some other things are happening there. Whereas this area 47 is an already built up area, or else not maybe area 47, but maybe area 10 is an already built up area. Now, one is trying to set up a hardware store where he'll be selling cement, steel, and all those other things, building materials, and so on and so forth. You can agree with me that if you set it up this side, probably it is going to be a strategic location, as opposed to setting it up in area 10. So, when you're analyzing the location, what we are saying here is, you pick up a location which is strategic, in as far as your customers are concerned. You cannot just locate something just because you like the place. Maybe you stay closer to that place, then you say, no, then I should set up this thing in here also. So the analysis of the location will determine the success and the failure of whatever you're trying to do. So this is the second step. This is the second step. We were analyzing the industry and at the same time the location also. Another thing is that of evaluating your target audience. Evaluating your target audience. Now, when you are evaluating your audience, what do you normally look at? First, you look at the needs of that or your audience. What do they need so that you bring them that one? Second thing is their ability to afford what you are planning to be selling them. So upon evaluating this audience of yours, you can take a step forward or you can take a step backward. As you're evaluating this your audience, you come to ascertain or you come to know what exactly they are expecting from you, and then what you can do to satisfy them. Now, for example, if your business is only relevant for a specific period of time, you also need to consider future plans so as not to disappoint that your audience. So evaluation of your audience in this case can be seen as the other step to be taken before you hit the road. Now, you have done three things here. You've done your market research. You have analyzed the industry that you want to operate in, and of course the location. And then you have evaluated your audience, and at least you are convinced that what you want to do is going to be viable. What next? The fourth step here is that of now formalizing your business. Now, by formalizing your business, what are we trying to say here? At least now you set up your business, you register your business as a legal entity, and you get the relevant licenses and documents now. We are in the process of setting up our business. So, realistically, the registration of your business is supposed to be the first step towards making your business idea real. So you've done all these other ones, and finally you are registering your business. Now, when you are registering your business, there are many ways through which you can do this. Actually, there are many types of business formations. For example, you have what we call partnerships, just as an example. We have what we call sole proprietorship. We have what we call corporations or limited liability companies, and many more others. So, as you are taking a step to register this your business, we are assuming that this is a startup. You need to read You need to study and understand what these formations are all about, what are the advantages and disadvantages of these formations that we are mentioning here. Is either a corporation, what are the advantages of or a corporation, what are the disadvantages? If I'm going into partnership, what are the cons and the pros of a partnership? Proprietorship, what are the cons and pros, and so on and so forth, so that at least you make an informed decision as you are doing your registration. Now, in the past, in Malawi, for example, whenever you want to register a business, you had to go to the registrar of companies and you fill the forms and all those other things. But today, things are being done differently. People are able to do this online. Now, after registering your business, there is another step that you also take, and this one is the drafting of the business plan. You draft the business plan, and now by drafting the business plan, this business plan has a lot of purposes. There are reasons why you need to have this business plan, and of course there are benefits to it. Now, when you are drawing this business plan, which is actually a comprehensive document, is not just a one-page document, there are some things that need to be contained in there. And those things, we are calling them as components of the business plan. Normally, a business plan is supposed to have at least 9 to 10 components. It depends. But anyway, we'll see those 9 to 10 components. As we are saying, it is a document, a comprehensive one. First of all, it starts with what we call an executive summary. Now, an executive summary is more or less like an introduction. You summarize what your business is all about and what are you intending to be doing. In this introductory part, we call an executive summary. Then, this document also has to outline the target market. This is your business, or this is our business. What is the target market? Who are we targeting? This is another component that needs to be contained in that one. So, after that one, this document also must have, must indicate actually clearly the services that we are intending to be offering, and if at all there are products, the products that we are intending to be offering. These ones have to be identified clearly. And the marketing and sales plan. What is your marketing plan and what is your sales plan? What are the milestones? And of course, the metrics. The metrics here, these are the measurements that you feel will be used as indicators to see whether you are succeeding or you are not succeeding in your operations. These ones also have to be indicated in there. And of course, if it is a limited company, whether it is a corporation, or whether it is a partnership, the company overview has to be demonstrated in the business plan. So there are reasons why you need to include all these components we are mentioning here. Then management team has to be also indicated in there. Whether you are managing it yourself or you are managing it you and your family, that's all. At least this has to be indicated as well. The financial plan has to be there. Now, all these ones have to be contained in the business plan, and among others. You have registered a business, fine. Now you have a business plan here, fine. What next? What should be the other step? You should have a plan in mind for funding. a plan for funding. That's another step. Business in Timene. How am I going to fund it? Here's the business plan. Fine. How am I going to get the funding? And this is the critical point that many people will always step back and give up, because now to secure funding becomes a bit more tricky and a bit more critical. Now, depending on the size and the goals of the business you are trying to set up, you may need to seek funding or financing from different sources. Is either from what we call angel investors, family members, and many other sources you may think of. At times, you may sell some of the properties you have, if at all you have any, you sell, and that you raise some money to be used in funding your venture. So I've mentioned something. I said angel investors. This concept of angel investors is also very common in the world of business. These angel investors are not angels from heaven, the angels that we hear preachers telling us in churches and some other places. These are investors. These investors can be wealthy individuals that might agree to invest in your business in return for some shares in the business. So we are assuming that you are setting up your business and you are looking for 50 million Malawi Waja to invest in this one. You approach a wealthy person who has money, you discuss with him or her, and then he agrees to give you the 50 million, to invest 50 million in your business. But in turn, you give him a certain percentage of shares in that business. These ones, we call them angel investors. So it's either you get money from them and many other sources, but at least you should have a plan of getting this funding. Apart from angel investors, where else can one get funding for their ventures? From commercial banks? Sorry? Yes. Lending institutions where they will give you some loan facilities. Yeah, inheritance. Yeah, some savings, personal savings, and we are saying friends and family, and actually many other sources. And finally, you set up now your own space. At least now you are sure that at least here is funding, I've gotten this and that. And now here is where I'm going to be operating. But now, when you are setting your space where you'll be doing your operations, which is step number 7 in our discussion here, there are some important considerations also to be taken into account. The location or the space that you have identified to set up your operations must be accessible. The space must be accessible to your customers and, of course, to your suppliers. This step may look insignificant, but it is significant, because if the place is not accessible, regardless of how beautiful your services are, regardless of how beautiful the products you are producing are, but it will be worthless, because your customers and those people you are targeting will find it hard to locate you and access whatever they want. Or if you want to still maintain those customers or to have those customers, it means you have to invest a lot in promotion to create awareness. People should know, people should see that you are offering these services, you are having these products with you. So when you're setting up your space, make sure that the place is accessible. Yes, bwana mwanzo wa bwana. Right, so we were on point number 7, which is the last one. Then we were saying, here is a step at which you set up your space. Now, when you are setting up your space, either it is a shop or a plant or a distribution center, depending on what you are doing, or a service center, there are a number of things you need to think of. So one of it is accessibility. It has to be accessible, that's one. The price that you are setting for your products and services must be realistic. That's the second thing when you are talking about the space. Apart from the accessibility and the price, the visibility is also something to consider. You have to be visible enough, and visible enough can take many forms. At least you should have pointers. People should know that you are existing and you are existing here. Whether it means having posters, having billboards, having signposts, and so on and so forth. Advertisements, at least visibility must be there. And if you see that in the area that you are choosing or you are thinking of locating your operations has more competitors, it is important for you to move and locate yourself at a place where there is no so much competition. Your failure to do this will make it difficult for you to penetrate the market, because in that area, the competitors that are there already made their names, already have their names there. So when you are locating yourself in a place where there are a lot of competitors with names, it will be difficult for you to get yourself known or to create your name from scratch. And again, finally, in the location where you are planning to set up your operations or the space you want to occupy, make sure you take a closer look at the rules and regulations in that particular area. It can either be city rules, state rules, government rules, or what have you. So, as you are now finalizing your decision to get yourself established in that particular location, it is always good to observe these things. Now, next is what we call feasibility study. Feasibility study. So, feasibility study, I think it should be the area that we shall have to start with next time we are meeting. What if we stop here? But nevertheless, I will share this thing with you.